Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from Jack Daniels. This is their Triple Mash, coming in at a 50% ABV, no age statement. Now, this bottle, along with their Jack Daniels Bonded, came out in 2022, and just really recently from when this video is posted. And the whole idea behind the Triple Mash is they took three different bonded products, a single malt, a rye, and Tennessee whiskey, blended them together, and still kept it bonded at that point. And for those of you at home that are not too privy on the word bonded, essentially what it means is a spirit has to be at least 50% ABV. It has to be at least 4 years old. While this, again, doesn't have an official age statement, we know it's at least 4 years old. Has to be, all the mash grain from at that point has to be harvested in the same season. It's got to be under one master distiller, and finally, it's got to be aged in a government bonded warehouse. So a lot of stipulations on that, and that's kind of to give it the seal of quality kind of concept, like the Nintendo sticker on there. But nonetheless, I actually sat down with this one for a moment, and I decided to let it open up a bit, and we're going to kind of get into it here in a moment. So, as always, we're going to try it 2 different ways. First way, neat, no ice, no water. Second way, we'll add a drop of water, see what changes up. And we'll also be doing a comparison between the bonded in this, along with some other Jack Daniels products, and those will be listed up above and down below. But I've noticed places are finally starting to get this one in stock. It seems like a lot of places got the bonded first, and then shortly after, the Triple Mash came out. Now, I've only had a couple single malts, especially from the US side of things, and it tends to bring in the sweetness. Our rye should bring in some spiciness, and then the Tennessee whiskey should bring in some of those hopefully classic, maple, brown sugars, and oaks, and things like that. And also one thing to note that these are actually 700 milliliter bottles versus the 750 here in the United States. There's been some legal changes on that, so we'll probably start seeing a lot more companies go with the 700s. I love its color. Got this nice golden hue to it, but almost a tinge of red in there. It's very beautiful looking. A little gold, though. Let's go for notes. And when I opened this up originally, the ABV took me by surprise. Though it is 50%, it was really kicking me in the teeth. And it was my first whiskey of the day, so that can kind of happen sometimes. But even now, I still get a bit of that ABV on there. It's not for the weak of heart. It's a very potent ABV. But once you get by that, that's where you're starting to pick out some of the different parts of this blend. You get a bit of that sweet maltiness from the single malt. You get a bit of spice from that rye. But it's not like, not herbal medicinal rye. It's more of just a spicy quality rye. And then following up in the tail end of all that is the Tennessee part. You do get a bit of that oak. You get a little bit of that maple sweetness in there, that little bit of brown sugarous. It doesn't quite go to molasses or anything like that, but it's a richer sugar quality to it. Well, let's go for taste. ABV does show up a little bit, but it's not as punchy as my first time around. My first time around, it really just kicked me in the teeth, and I had to stop for a minute. But here, you do get a lot of interesting flavors going on. The fruit that we're getting on the nose kind of goes more to like a dark berry, almost like a blackberry, raspberry type quality to it. You still get a bit of the spiciness from the rye. And it's all really tied up very well with almost a black tea kind of quality to it. But you still get a bit of that maple sweetness in there too, which is really unique for it to come across. And you get a bit of this black tea, I don't know, just a really sharp black tea quality on there. It's a little herbal from that. And you get this kind of sharp black tea quality to it. Along with that, you still get that maple sweetness in there, that little bit of brown sugar, but it doesn't quite go into molasses yet again on the taste. Just a nice, simple concept all going on there. So I'm going to walk you through it here. Berry sweetness, a little bit of vanilla, just a hairline of caramel in there. Get that spiciness that comes from the beginning to the mid. And again, it doesn't go herbal and medicinal, just a nice, simple, spicy quality to it. And here in the finish, left with a little bit of that brown sugar, a little bit of oak, and that classic maple quality that can come out in a Jack Daniel's. It is really an interesting ride, and that's where I'm liking it. But I definitely can tell you by the taste, it's not going to be for everybody. It is a lot more complex than the Bonded and a lot more complex than standard Jack Daniel's. Almost got a butteriness to it as well. For some reason, I'm getting that on there. Got a bit of butteriness. But the single malt, I think, is the thing that's really going to throw people for a curveball. You know, single malts aren't super popular here in the States. So having that is going to change things up. Having that with a rye is really changing things up. It'd be one thing if they did a rye Tennessee blend, but to do all three of them is super unique. I'm digging it, and it's definitely an exploration situation for this one. It's really different, though. Okay, let's add a little bit of water. See what changes up here. Okay, I'll give that a moment here. But no, this is starting to show up more places. I just so happened to show up at the right place, right time, and it was the right price. I got a location that usually keeps prices pretty fair, which I appreciate them all the time. Belmont Beverage. If you're ever in the Indiana area, they have pretty reasonable pricing on about everything. Okay, let's go for notes on the water. Your ABV shows up and it's a little sharper. It's a little more precise than the neat version. Here, you're still getting a lot of the other notes going on. It kind of covers it up a bit here. It doesn't quite as much. It is a little more ethanol forward. But you are getting that also this burst of sweetness in there from that single malt. It's almost going candied sweetness. Still getting a bit of fruit. Definitely goes more berry-like on this time. You definitely get more just a pinpoint like a raspberry quality in there. Yeah. Getting a little bit of that sugar quality, but it's not really strong like the neat version. Yeah. The oak really doesn't show up at all. It might be there in the background, but I think my brain's just putting it there because it knows it normally is. Yeah. All right. Let's go for taste. Your spices are coming out a little stronger here. It goes a little metallic and a little simple on the taste, but you're getting this kind of burst of fruit at the beginning, and it goes away quick, and then rounds out to more that deeper barrel char kind of flavor. It doesn't quite go like a toasted caramel quality, but you can get a bit of chariness going on. The fruitiness is definitely there. Even on the second sip, it's getting a little more metallic on the taste. It is a little off-putting because of that. It's teetering that line, but you're still getting that nice sweetness, getting that bit of sweet from the fruit and a bit of that brown sugar sweetness. Getting a bit of that maple quality, but it's almost a darker maple. Almost, I guess the best way to put it is if you've had maple syrup in your cabinet for too long, or in your fridge, wherever you store it, and it starts getting a little darker, starts to crystallize a bit. Kind of reminds me of that. Still get a bit of that tea note that I was getting. Actually goes a little more herbal. Actually, after I said tea, my tongue goes, oh, hey, that's herbal. More of a black tea herbal black tea going on there. It's not super herbal like Bullet Rye, but it's got this bit of herbalness going on there with that tea now. It's a different ride. It really truly is. All right, let's talk about market pricing, because we all know market price is market price and it's always going to vary, especially on a bottle like this. I picked this up for $38 and MSRP is $34, I think Jack Daniels was saying. Look, here's some tidbits. First of all, is it good? Yeah, I think it's a good bottle. Would I pay over $40 for it? No, I think it lives in that $40 range. I already see some websites posting this as high as like 60s and 70s. Don't overpay for this. I've seen a few people on Reddit and places saying they paid $50 plus for it. It's not worth that. This bottle is part of their core lineup. So overpaying for it now, you're just going to have buyer's remorse down the road when it shows up on the shelf everywhere. I'm able to find this in grocery stores now, and the Bonded. Both of those I'm showing up at like Meijer and some other locations similar to big box stores here in the Midwest. They're showing up. They're coming in slowly, but they're getting there. So don't overpay for it. This, however, is definitely, if you're saying I'm a straight Jack Daniels drinker, you don't deviate from that. This is going to be a wild ride for you. It 150% is going to be. But if you're up for exploration, you're up for something different, but still like to stay in that Jack Daniels wheelhouse, it's a fun ride. It really, truly is. I definitely think $40 or less is where this needs to be, especially for your pocketbook. But yeah, definitely. I don't discard what it's doing. I would love to see Jack Daniels do a single malt if they haven't, just because I think they could do a lot of cool things with it. So yeah, there you have it. Jack Daniels Triple Mash. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to find it and share that with you at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I even like it might